aka Eileen the Little Crafter. Welcome to Artscast and everything in between. Additional information about this show can be found on my website, eileenthelittlecrafter.com. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm pretty early for this one today, folks. Don't know when I'm going to post it up, but anyways, so today we're going to be talking about the premiere of Ghostbait. It's a show that's been really, seems like a lot of commercials have been on there for, what is that, Travel Channel, that's the word, and it premiered at 10 o'clock my time. So it was supposed to be premiering 10 o'clock, I think Central Time was 9, and technically I watched it at 10. I mean, not 10. I watched a little bit at 10 and I paused it because I was like, okay, I really got to get a workout in. So technically I watched it like until like 11 something. So anyways, let's get into, my thoughts of it. But before I go, I would like to say that thank you everybody that has been listening. I also would like to say that I'm really sorry that the blog has not been updated. I have been having some computer issues. Actually, my computer is broken. I really need to get it fixed or get a new one. So, yeah, that's just not feasible. So I don't know what's going to happen first. But, yeah, no, the hinge on the left side broke. And apparently, David was reading that for this particular not this model, but brand, I'm not going to see the brand, the left side hinge comes up, and well, technically it starts malfunctioning, and the computer screen breaks. But mine seemed to be that the cover just lifted up. The screen did not break. It felt like it was about to. So I got lucky in that point, but I don't know, what's going to happen next. I do miss blogging. I've been trying to blog more about nail stuff and trying to get back into video editing, because I do host another show. In case you guys are interested, I do host a Little Crafter show. Again, additional information about that can be found on my website, eileenthelittlecrafter.com. I was trying to do some nail stuff. I wanted to get back into some crafting stuff. I also got to get, I don't know, my tripods are just, like the connections aren't working properly. I'm a little livid. But anyways, let's move on. Okay, let's get into the show. Okay, so it premiered at 10 and 9 Central. It's on Travel Channel. The premise of the show is basically, and I'm going to paraphrase this as best as possible. The premise of the show is that basically fear is the strongest emotion, and that these two investigators are trying to use the fear to lure the ghost out, and then for you to basically not fear the entity anymore and take back your control of your life. Basically, that's like the premise of it. Anyways, so day one, it looks like maybe it's an investigation, maybe about 2 or 3 days. I think day one, I guess they find like information about the place or whatever, or they just talk to you about it, and then they do an investigation. I don't know if that's like the second day or part of day one. Then they call it which Ghostbait Day, and I'm like, really? Oof. Like, I kind of feel like, I don't know. I guess the premise of the show, like the name of it, Ghostbait. Like, who wants to be bait? Like, really? Like, nah. Would not be me. But basically, during this session, you're supposed to wear this burlap sack, which I kind of find ridiculous. It adds to the creep factor. I also feel like I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like, like, since it has, when you, like, I've never put burlap over my face, but if you put anything over your face with texture or movement in the dark, it's gonna add to your heightened senses, and it's gonna creep you out. So I kind of feel like it would make the person even more on edge. And first of all, I don't know about you, but I would not like to be blindfolded or in any whatchamacallit. Personally, I like Amy and Adam's approach from Kindred Spirits, where they have headphones and blindfolds. I kind of feel like that approach to me is more like you're already sat down, you put it on, and you can't hear the ghost or whatever the case may be. I kind of feel like you could talk to them better. Okay, so they do the investigation. They find out what's going on. They figure out what claims were, could be debunked, what claims or whatever are accurate. The first case was really interesting. It was in a well-known hotspot of activity. I've heard about this hotel before, the one with the stream in it, basically. And so apparently the maid was being bullied by the judge, and she at the end basically took off the burlap. I was like, smart girl, you really don't need the burlap. Like, you could just sit there in the dark and wait for the thing to come, because apparently it wanted something from you, apparently. So she's like, I'm taking this thing off. Sorry, I'm taking this thing off. So she takes it off, and apparently their equipment starts malfunctioning, and So I don't know, but I kind of feel like, why would you put yourself in harm's way? That's just me. And the logical side is, they're trying to take back, the power so that the person could face their fears and let the entity know, hey, cut your nonsense out. Like, no, I'm not the one. So, I mean, those are the two thoughts that were running through my head as I'm watching this show. I kind of felt like somebody should have been in the room with them. I don't know. So, according to the first case, once she faced her fears, and the other thing was, as soon as the stuff was malfunctioning, I don't know about you, but I would have been so afraid for that woman in the pool room. I would have been running down to make sure she's okay. Like, if I, but, so, I mean, they were pretty diligent watching her and trying to, talk to her and make sure she's okay. But at one point she couldn't hear them or whatever the case may be. But I guess at that point she was so fed up with what was going on, she just told him off and told him, hey, back off. I'm not afraid of you. You're not going to bully me. You're not going to scare me no more. That's it. I'm done. So it was a good resolution. And, so, I don't know. The second case, holy camoli. The second case seemed pretty typical in what most stuff happens. It seemed like the woman was more bullied in this particular case. And apparently it just seemed like maybe some type of demon, or didn't seem like an entity. It seemed like some type of portals were in their house. They said that they had people come over before, and that they had one or two portals in their home. They also found audio to figure out what was going on. They then, what else did they have video evidence, so they sent it to the Ghost Bait team, and they came and they investigated, and they got, some evidence or whatever the case may be. They even talked to the mother of of one of the occupants or owners of the house, and she said that before she even got into the house, she doused herself with holy water. I was like, oh, whoa. Jeez Louise. So that was pretty extreme. So then, at this point, they do their investigation. They find the evidence, and it's pretty evidence that they need to take care of this. They speak to somebody, and apparently, the person seemed to be spot on. And they were saying, that they don't think that this could be their average haunting of sorts. So I was like, okay, so why don't we just call a demonologist already and just get rid of this thing? No, what they did was they decided to put the lady in one room and the husband in the other room, and they put the wife, the poor wife, oh my goodness, they put the poor wife with the hooded whatever thingamajig, and the husband in another room, and all of a sudden, pretty much, you can start hearing footsteps, and these things were pretty loud. I was like, oh, what's going on? Like, is somebody really messing with me here? So apparently the wife is really scared. She doesn't want to do this. She's sitting there. She's being brave as possible. And they start talking to her to tell her, letting her, hey, that this person is missing, or this entity is missing with your family. And you're very protective. You know how protective you are of your family. And, you need to confront the entity about that. So she starts, and she's doing really good. And I'm like, okay, hopefully this is working for her. And at one point, the thing breathed in her ear. And she got up. She technically rolled to her bed because she was sitting in a chair in her room. She jumped into her bed. She took off the hood. She ran out of the hood, and she ran out of the house. They go running to find her, and at this point, the lights are on in the house. And so apparently, even though she did confront it, it wasn't enough, and they needed to bring in somebody to cleanse the house. Personally, once they found out that there was a house, a portal, I would have just immediately brought somebody in. I mean, apparently, it's just, I don't know. That case just really rubbed me the wrong way. After seeing her crying and shaking, I don't know if she's a good actress. I don't know if it's real or not, but I just was like, no, why would you do this? Especially after all the information that you gathered. Yeah, the last case kind of a little, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out whether or not if I like this, if I agree with this method. And I know that everybody has different methods, and they have to figure out what works, for them. But it's just, I don't know. It's like, you want to keep watching, because it's very interesting, but at the same time, you're like, why? Oh my goodness. But it was interesting. It was a really and very different concept, and I guess I would like to see more and see what happens next, and hopefully they do give like a premise of the story that these particular persons have been doing this for a while, and they figured out that fear is a very trigger, highly motivated whatchamacallit. But I kind of feel like, okay, so if that's the case, then so-called good entities, and I don't even know if they classify entities as being evil, demonic, or neutral, or good. Do they classify that? And maybe, like I said, maybe I should tweet them. I don't know if I said this before, but I actually was thinking about tweeting them and finding out, like, okay, so if fear is what these entities feed off of, what happens about their personalities? Like, supposedly when you die, your personality is the same way. So if you were really good, you're going to be good, in your afterlife. And if you were bad or really evil, you're going to be horrible. So, and, this is plenty of different theories that, well, plenty of different investigators have said this over and over and over again. So I was pretty interested, but they never said anything. All they said was basically, it's because of your fear. They're feeding off your fear. They're feeding off your fear. So I'm like, okay, but how do you know? Like, so that would be definitely interesting. And if I hear anything back, I definitely will let you know, because I'm pretty interested myself about that. So that's my impression of Ghostbait. Is it a must-watch show? It's pretty interesting. I don't know. You may agree to disagree with their methods. You may watch it just to see, what I'm talking about, or just, because you're interested. I would take a gander at it. I mean, I don't know if it's still. It looks like it's going to be on Thursdays. It's basically took Kindred Spirits spot since they are on vacation of sorts. Which, please come back. I love your show. So, anyways, it's on Travel Channel. 10 o'clock Eastern Time and 9 o'clock Central Time. And I don't know if it's going to be on demand. Maybe you got to check their app in case you wanted to see more. Alrighty, guys. So, what did you think if you watched it? Are you going to watch it? Have you heard about this particular team before? I tried to see if I could find anything about them on YouTube. It looks like them, but I'm not 100% sure if apparently one of them, is just they've both been doing this for a while, and one of them is empathic. I think the Stoner, I forgot their names already, so please forgive me. I'm horrible with names. I probably should have looked it up. But anyways, you know what I'm talking about. It's Ghostbait. Alrighty, guys. So what did you think? Would love to hear. Are you going to watch it? Have you watched it? What do you think? Have you heard about this team before? Have you, good, bad, in between? Would love to hear from you. You can leave it down on the comments below, or you can always email me your comments or questions. My email address is Eileen@eileenlittlecraft.com. And thank you for listening, and enjoy your weekends, and bye for now.